The unexpected removal of Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro by a U.S. military operation on January 3rd to 4th, 2026 marks a decisive geopolitical moment. Maduro has been a long-standing ally of Russia in Latin America, supporting Moscow's interests in energy, military cooperation, and international diplomacy. While Russia condemned the U.S. action as an infringement on Venezuelan sovereignty, Moscow's broader strategic assessment reveals a nuanced set of potential benefits juxtaposed with clear risks. Russia's immediate reaction: strong words, strategic silence. Russia's official response to the ousting was emphatic in rhetoric but cautious in posture. The Kremlin condemned U.S. strikes in Venezuela as aggressive and a violation of international norms, framing the intervention as an unacceptable infringement on a sovereign state. Yet, Russian President Vladimir Putin did not immediately escalate Russia's diplomatic posture, suggesting Moscow is weighing its options rather than reacting precipitously. This restraint reflects Moscow's broader strategic calculus, avoiding direct confrontation with Washington while reassessing its influence in Latin America. Geopolitical rebalancing, opportunity amid loss. A. Rethinking alliances and global influence. While Maduro was one of Russia's most identifiable allies in the Western Hemisphere, his removal creates opportunities for Moscow to adapt. By taking a measured stance, Russia positions itself as a defender of global norms, appealing to countries skeptical of U.S. interventionism, even as it recalibrates its influence in the region. This can feed into Moscow's narrative of promoting a multipolar world order opposed to unabashed U.S. dominance. Historically, Russia supported Maduro as part of a broader strategy to embed influence across key regions, including Latin America, Africa, and the Middle East. Although the new dynamics present an immediate loss of a friendly government, they also validate arguments by some Russian strategic thinkers that international power is shaped by raw capability rather than legalistic constraints. B. Messaging to other allies and competitors. Russia can leverage perceptions of the Venezuelan episode to reinforce its own alliances. By emphasizing the law of the strongest, Moscow signals to other partners, such as Iran, Syria, or even China, that it is aware of shifting power balances and is ready to operate in an environment dominated by strategic interests rather than idealistic frameworks. Economic and energy market implications. A. Oil markets and price dynamics. Venezuela's vast oil reserves were a potential oil market asset for Russia, both strategically and economically. U.S. control or influence over Venezuelan oil presents a possible shift in global energy dynamics, with impact including downward pressure on crude prices, potentially undermining revenue streams for other producers like Russia. This could directly affect Kremlin finances, already burdened by sanctions and protracted Ukraine conflict. B. Strategic resource concerns. Although immediate economic shock was limited according to some markets, long-term access to Venezuelan energy infrastructure and investment opportunities may shift toward U.S. interests. Such a shift could erode one of Russia's footholds in the global hydrocarbon market, intensifying energy competition on the world stage. Strategic messaging and domestic narratives. Russian political circles and commentators have responded with a mixture of denunciation and reluctant admiration for the speed and decisiveness of the U.S. operation. Some commentators have even invoked the operation as a contrast point to Russia's own experiences in Ukraine, hinting that Moscow could learn from the show of decisive force. For domestic audiences, this dual message, condemning U.S. methods while arguing that global affairs are increasingly driven by power, serves to bolster internal narratives about resilience, realpolitik, and Russia's place in a multipolar world. Strategic caution and broader calculus. Despite rhetoric, major Russian strategic priorities remain centered on the war in Ukraine and management of relations with other global powers. Intensifying confrontation over a distant theater like Venezuela could risk broader escalation, particularly given the ongoing sensitivities surrounding Ukraine and NATO. Moscow's restraint highlights a preference to avoid crisis-driven escalation and focus on regions of more immediate strategic value. The ousting of Nicolás Maduro represents a significant geopolitical shift with multi-layered implications for Russia. While the immediate loss of an ally carries clear strategic costs, Russia's leadership is parsing the situation for broader geopolitical opportunities. These include reinforcing narratives about great power dynamics, recalibrating energy market strategies, and signaling to other global actors that Moscow remains a key stakeholder in international affairs, even amid setbacks. In sum, the fallout from Maduro's removal will likely not diminish Russia's global ambitions, but will shape how those ambitions are articulated and pursued in the coming months.